Let's be real for a second. The middle class has flat out given up. Straight up waved the white flag on wealth. And it's not because they're lazy, it's because they're exhausted. Imagine running on a treadmill that only speeds up the harder you run. That's what middle class life feels like right now. This video won't be like the others because today I'm going to break down exactly why the middle class tapped out of the wealth game and how you can escape the trap before it swallows you whole. And I gotta warn you right now, some of these reasons will sting because you'll realize you've been playing by rules designed to keep you broke. But stick with me because by the end of this video, you'll see how the wealthy flip the script and how you can too. Reason number 1, the illusion of safety. First off, want to hear the cruel joke on how we live in this society? The middle class thinks safety comes from a job, a mortgage, and maybe a 401k. In reality, that's just a cage with better wallpaper. Think about it. You work a safe 9-to-5 job for 20 years until one email from HR changes your life. The email goes like this: "We appreciate your service, but the company is going in a different direction." Translation: pack your desk, Karen. The safe job just disappeared. Your safe house? Miss a few payments and watch how fast the bank reminds you whose name is really on the deed. Spoiler alert, it's not yours. And don't even get me started on safe pensions. Ask your grandparents how safe their retirement was when the stock market tanked. The middle class is clinging to safety like it's a life raft, when really it's an anchor. The wealthy figured this out early. They don't chase safety, they chase control. Control of their time, their money, their choices. Because when you have control, you don't need safe. You create freedom. But once you buy into safety, you buy into the system. And the system's favorite weapon? Debt. Which is why reason number 2 will sting like a credit card bill you forgot was due. Reason number 2, drowning in debt. I mean, let's be real. Middle-class life runs on credit cards, car loans, and 30-year mortgages. It's like living in a mansion. That's actually just a giant IOU to the bank. I honestly think for the middle class, debt isn't a tool, it's oxygen. Without it, the whole lifestyle collapses. Think about it. Car loan, student loan, mortgage, credit cards, that don't worry, 0 interest for 12 months furniture bill. The average middle-class household is juggling so many payments, they need a spreadsheet just to remember who they owe. It's less financial freedom and more subscription plan to survive. And here's the kicker, they call it normal. People proudly say, yeah, I only owe $20,000 on my car, but I got a great interest rate. That's like bragging you got a discount on your handcuffs. Meanwhile, wealthy people play a totally different game, and this is what changed everything for me. The rich use debt as leverage to buy assets that generate more income than the loan costs. The middle class, they use debt to buy things that rust, depreciate, or end up in the garage sale pile. Debt is the invisible tax that keeps the middle class grinding. They're not building wealth, they're just working for the bank. But here's where it gets ugly. Debt isn't even the biggest drain. It's what comes next, the thing people celebrate every time they get a raise. That's reason number 3. And it's the silent wealth killer. Reason number 3, lifestyle inflation. Okay, here's how it plays out. You finally get that promotion, maybe an extra $500 a month, and instead of investing it, the middle class reflex kicks in. Upgrade time. Suddenly, the perfectly fine Honda turns into a shiny new SUV with a payment that eats the whole raise. The modest apartment replaced by a bigger place with granite countertops, because apparently you can't chop onions without stone surfaces. This is lifestyle inflation, the middle class hamster wheel. Every time you climb a rung, you add another weight to your back. It's like running a marathon and celebrating by strapping on a backpack full of bricks. And that's why one of the first things I tell you in our Financial Freedom series is simply, the wealthy don't play this game. When their income goes up, their assets go up. When the middle class gets a raise, their bills go up. One builds freedom, the other builds stress. And here's the cruel irony. Most of the money people burn in lifestyle inflation isn't even buying freedom, it's buying appearances, which leads us straight to reason number 4. Reason number 4, chasing status symbols. This is one of the most important points, and unfortunately, it's also one of the most common mistakes I see on Instagram literally every single day. The middle class loves to look rich, even if it means being broke in style. You've all seen it before. The guy with the leased BMW who panics when the check engine light comes on because he can't afford the service. Or the girl with a $1,200 iPhone who still Venmos friends $3 for gas money. Status symbols are the middle-class drug. Designer belts, luxury bags, the latest sneakers. Stuff that screams wealth but whispers debt. It's cosplay for financial freedom. Meanwhile, the wealthy are the exact opposite. You'll find millionaires walking around in $30 sneakers from Costco, driving Toyotas that still have cassette players. Why? Because they don't need to prove anything. Their money's working for them while everyone else's money is sitting in their closet. But the obsession with looking rich doesn't come out of nowhere. It's programmed into us from the start, and that takes us straight into reason number 5. Reason number 5, brainwashed by school. From kindergarten to college, we're trained to be good employees. Obey the rules, sit still, follow instructions. Perfect for a 9-to-5 life, terrible for building wealth. School trains you to be a great employee, not a wealthy person. From day one, you're taught to follow rules, raise your hand for permission, and memorize facts you'll never use. Seriously, when was the last time you needed to know the Pythagorean theorem while paying your rent? And for crying out loud, the sad part is what schools don't teach you. And that is how money actually works. You'll graduate knowing how to dissect a frog, but not how to avoid a credit card trap. You'll spend 4 years writing essays on Shakespeare, but never learn how compound interest can quietly make you rich or broke. And the result? The middle class believes wealth comes from get a degree, get a job, save for retirement. That's not wealth. That's a hamster wheel with a diploma hanging on the wall. The wealthy, on the other hand, learn outside the classroom. They study money, investing, business. They build financial literacy while everyone else is memorizing dates in history class. And when you mix a lack of financial education with years of paycheck-to-paycheck living, you end up with the middle class's deadliest habit. Reason number 6, the scarcity mindset. Reason number 6, scarcity mindset. All right, I need to address something real quick, so listen closely. The middle class doesn't just live paycheck to paycheck. They think paycheck to paycheck. And if you've been following our videos on building wealth silently, you've probably heard me say this before. Scarcity mindset is when you believe money is this fragile, limited resource that's always about to run out. It's why people will spend 20 minutes driving across town to save 10 cents on gas, but won't spend 20 minutes learning how to build a new income stream. It shows up in everyday choices. Skipping a $10 book that could change their financial life, but dropping $10 every day at Starbucks without blinking. Obsessing over coupons while ignoring opportunities that could multiply their income. Saying things like, I can't afford that, instead of asking, how can I afford that? The wealthy? They think in terms of expansion, not limitation. While the middle class focuses on cutting costs, the wealthy focus on growing revenue. The difference? You can only cut down to 0, but income has no ceiling. Scarcity mindset keeps people locked in survival mode. And the middle class has been trained to believe survival is the goal, when in reality, survival is the trap. And speaking of traps, scarcity thinking leads directly into the biggest one of all. Reason number 7, trading time for money. That's the hamster wheel the middle class can't seem to get off. Reason number 7, trading time for money. Now, I already know I'm talking directly to someone watching this right now. This is the middle class signature move. Clock in, clock out, paycheck. If you're not working, you're not earning. It's the financial equivalent of renting instead of owning. You never actually keep the asset. Here's the problem. Time is the worst thing you can sell because it's the only thing you can't get more of. You can make more money. You can't make more hours. And yet the middle class treats time like it's endless and money like it's scarce. That's backwards. You see it everywhere. People brag about working overtime like it's a badge of honor. Yeah, I pulled 70 hours this week. Congratulations. You just accelerated your trip to burnout without moving one step closer to freedom. Wealthy people flip the game. They use their time to build assets, businesses, real estate, investments that keep paying them whether they're on the clock or on a beach in Spain. They buy time, the middle class sells it. Trading time for money is like running on a treadmill with no off button. You think you're moving forward, but the second you stop running, you fall flat. And here's the kicker. Most middle-class people know the treadmill is exhausting, but they won't step off. Why? Because of reason number 8, their fear of risk. Reason number 8, fear of risk. Now you might be thinking, what can they possibly be afraid of? Well, put it like this. The middle class has been conditioned to treat risk like it's the boogeyman hiding under the bed. Start a business? Too risky. Invest in real estate? What if the market crashes? Buy stocks? What if I lose everything? So instead, they cling to the so-called safe route. 40 years at a job, a house they can barely afford, and a 401k they hope doesn't evaporate. Irony alert. By avoiding risk, they guarantee failure. Now, since I've gotten several comments on this topic, here's the truth. Safety is the biggest risk of all. Inflation eats your savings. Companies lay off employees in cost-cutting measures, and that pension you've been promised might be gone before you ever see it. Meanwhile, the wealthy embrace risk, but here's the secret. They take calculated risks. They don't blindly throw darts at the stock market. They learn the game, stack the odds in their favor, and then make moves. That's why when the middle class says, "I can't afford to lose," the wealthy say, "I can't afford to stay the same." The middle class would rather drown slowly in security than take a chance at freedom. That's not caution. That's fear wearing a suit and tie. And when you mix fear with comfort, you get the perfect recipe for distraction, which is exactly why reason number 9 hits like a Netflix autoplay screen at 2 a.m. Reason number 9, distracted by noise. Look, I need everyone to understand this clearly. The middle class isn't just broken dollars. They're broken attention. Every spare second gets devoured by distractions. Endless scrolling on TikTok, binging Netflix like it's a part-time job, keeping up with celebrity drama that has zero impact on their life. They're plugged into noise 24/7, and that noise keeps them broke. Here's the kicker. Distraction feels productive. Watching financial news that just scares you into doing nothing. Reading 10 different opinions on Reddit but never actually starting. It's analysis paralysis dressed up as research. Meanwhile, the wealthy guard their attention like it's gold, because it is. They use downtime to learn skills, network, or build assets. The middle class? They use downtime to argue about pineapple on pizza in YouTube comments. Attention is the new currency. If you give it away to every notification and dopamine hit, you'll never have the focus required to build wealth. The middle class spends attention the way they spend money, impulsively. And just like money, once it's gone, it's gone. And that constant distraction. It doesn't just waste time, it kills belief. Which brings us to the saddest, most dangerous reason of all. Reason number 10. Reason number 10, they've stopped believing. Okay, now here's the tragedy no one talks about. The middle class has lost hope. At some point, after enough bills, enough layoffs, enough, "sorry, your loan was denied," they quietly stop believing wealth is even possible. Instead of chasing dreams, they settle for survival. Instead of aiming for freedom, they aim for Friday. You see it in the little things, joking about being forever broke, as if it's normal. Celebrating tax refunds like it's a bonus, when in reality, it's just the government giving your money back late. Talking about retirement like it's a fantasy island they'll never actually reach. And the scariest part? They don't just stop believing in money, they stop believing in themselves. The fire goes out. They trade ambition for comfort, hope for routine, possibility for autopilot. Meanwhile, the wealthy aren't necessarily smarter or luckier. They just never stop believing the game was winnable. That belief keeps them learning, trying, risking, and building. When the middle class gives up, they guarantee they'll stay stuck. When you believe it's still possible, you at least give yourself a chance to break free. But here's the good news. Just because the middle class gave up doesn't mean you have to. In fact, the simple act of watching this video proves you still believe there's another way. And that's the spark that changes everything. But here's the thing. You don't have to play that game. The middle class gave up because they were lied to. They were told to chase safety, to avoid risk, to trade time for money, to buy status instead of assets. You can opt out. You can flip the script. Learn the rules the wealthy play by. Build assets. Take calculated risks. Stop chasing the illusion of safety and start chasing freedom. Wealth isn't about being lucky. It's about playing a different game. If this video hit home, you're already miles ahead of the people still stuck in the middle class trap. So here's what I want you to do. Comment the words, "I refuse to give up," to affirm and commit to this publicly. At the end of the day, you don't have to give up like the middle class did. You just have to play smarter. As a matter of fact, if you want to know the one simple shift that can quietly make you a millionaire, we break it down step by step in this next video. Just click the video on the screen now, and I'll show you exactly how millionaires build riches without anyone noticing.